All right.
Okay.
Patrick Henderson, Meet the People here. Interviewing, I believe, to be a legend in the city of Baltimore. She's been around for a number of years in many capacities, serving Baltimore. And we're excited to have Mrs. Mary Pat Clarke.
Well,
Welcome.
thank you. Welcome to our home.
Yes, your beautiful home. I
Thanks.
love it. And thank you for inviting us. We were just saying how exciting things are happening around the city.
Well, it's a busy time, I'll tell you. It hasn't slowed down for a long, long time.
It hasn't, but I think there's a new momentum.
I hope so. I feel it.
I think with the new mayor, the new city council members, and just things that are just happening in general that are long been neglected or overlooked. How are you liking the new mayor and her administration? Are you feeling motivated, inspired?
Well, I have a great deal of respect for the new mayor, and certainly I support her. Of course, she vetoed my $15 minimum wage bill, so
Yes.
that was a rough road to get started on.
Right.
But she's got a lot on her plate, and I'm sure that we can come back and look at that again in calmer times. But I have a lot of respect for her, and I like a lot of the things that she's doing. I'm very pleased because we in the City Council are working on exactly the same idea. That she has offered free tuition to Baltimore City Community College to graduates of the Baltimore City Public Schools. That means a lot.
Yes.
They offer an AA degree. A lot of my constituents have successfully gone through that different programs there, especially in healthcare.
Yes, yes.
Especially in healthcare.
Great school of nursing.
Healthcare,
Yes.
respiratory.
I'm an alumni.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
I was president of the student body.
No, you
and on the
weren't,
board of
Patrick.
trustees.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes. I love that school.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad I mentioned
Yes,
it.
I'm glad you
So
did,
that's
too.
the kind of thing that has long-term positive effects.
Yes.
We didn't see eye to eye about the mandatory one-year sentence for basically for anyone caught with an illegal gun. Even if they weren't in the commission of a crime. I voted against that, but then in the same breath, and it did pass, but by the time it passed, the city council had watered it down enough so
Okay.
that first offenders that were not in the course of a
Penalized.
crime were not covered at all.
Great.
Yeah, because we know what mandatories have done
Yes, ma'am.
to so many thousands
Yes.
of young men who come out not quite so young
Yeah.
and come back
Hardened.
to hardened and without references and
Yes.
without jobs.
Yes.
And after a few thousand,
Yes.
you've got a community in deep trouble, and that's
ma'am.
where we're living right now.
That's where we're living right
So,
now.
I have a lot of respect for her and how hard she works and what she's trying to do. And we try to work with her in the Baltimore City Council, but we have 8 new people out of 15,
Right.
and young people.
Yes.
And so we're on a positive roller coaster ride.
Oh, you lead me right into my next question. They seem to be a little more autonomous. They seem to be stretching
the
their
balance of power is coming into effect within the City Council.
Okay.
There are enough new people that they're not waiting their turn. It's their turn now.
Nor are they jaded. Excuse me.
No, they're not jaded, and they're smart. They're smart. They're hardworking, and that they are totally involved in the work of being a representative.
That's so exciting.
Yeah,
So
I love
exciting.
them.
Baltimore's mayor historically, I believe since Schaefer, has been one of the most powerful mayors in the country.
Yeah, because of the way our charter is, the mayor has a lot of power, other mayors don't. For example, in the budget, which is,
Yes.
what's it about? It's about how we spend our money.
Right.
Now, we were able to work with the mayor in this budget to get her to agree that, for an agreement that we wouldn't make the cuts we were proposing if she put money in the budget for after-school programs and the like that we wanted, and safe streets. And we came to that agreement.
Okay.
And sometimes you have a mayor who won't work with you. She did.
Right.
So we were, and she supported those issues. So that worked out. And that's what you mean, in a way, I think, by balance. I
Yes,
mean,
yes.
we came out with more than we had gone in with on behalf of mainly kids.
Yes, that's you.
Yeah.
That brings me to my next question. We give more money to the police department than we do. The budget for the police department is bigger than the school budget. Is that a good thing? I mean, that's a ridiculous question. We know it's not a good thing. But why is that? But before you answer that, back to the mayor. There is something called the general fund.
Yes.
And we contend, and I have been told, and I'm going to say I heard it from the auditor's office, office, that there are no earmarks. So when money comes in, it's just there. So then it's at the discretion
Of the mayor.
Of the mayor.
That's right.
And so we end up expecting things to go one way, say, but if an extra snowstorm comes and that money is there, then they have at their discretion. I think that's just bad management. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, the mayor puts the annual budget together. She has her Department of Finance make recommendations. Then she looks over their recommendations and she makes changes. And then Finance presents its budget proposal to the Board of Estimates, which the mayor controls, which is 5 people, herself included. She controls it. They generate the city budget.
Okay.
Then, for it to be the law, it comes to us in the city council.
Okay.
We can cut the budget, but we don't have the authority under our city charter to move. Like, we don't just want to cut the budget.
Right.
What we would cut money to move it, like, for example, from police to education. But we can't do that. We can cut, and we can go to her, like we did, and say, here's what we cut. But what we really want is more money in education, and we'll take it from wherever you can give it to us from, but we want it. And that's how we negotiate. We don't have the power to take our cuts and move them around budgets.
Would you consider sponsoring a charter to change that? And why has it been going for so long when we see that it is not efficient? It's not exactly proletariat, I guess is the right word for
Well,
the rest of it.
it's not populist, but it was
Populist, yes.
adopted long before any of us were around. Because when the budget was determined by individuals like city council members, when every council member, this was before, I mean, this was in the 1800s.
Wow.
And going around into the 1900s. Across the city, across the country, council members in cities were just spending money in their districts, but there was no accounting for them. And that's where the strong mayor form of control came from. That's how the charter got changed to make it strong mayor. So basically, you have to also be careful where you're going to spread the power of the budget, because you have to hold people accountable for how it's spent.
Yes.
So that's part of our job in the council, to watch that budget as the year goes on and make sure it's being spent the way it was supposed to be.
Yes, well, in the last administration, because of the Board of Estimates and her having 3 votes,
Yeah, right.
she was able to override so many things that you all were
Oh,
doing
yeah,
and
that's
wanted
right.
to do. And that's what we think is wrong. We don't think that she should be, if the Board of Estimates, no matter what, they work for the city. She might select them, but they work for the city. And we
That's
saw
right.
so many instances where it was against the city people, and I won't bring up any instances because we don't have a bunch
You
of time.
won't have to me, because
Okay.
I was around for all of those instances, and I share your feelings.
Yes, ma'am.
But I think right now we're in a better place.
Okay.
We have a council that's, as we have already discussed, that's young and dedicated, honest,
Okay.
honest.
Yes.
And we have a mayor who is very hardworking and
listens?
cares and listens.
Okay.
She does.
Okay.
And has helped many of us in lots of different ways.
Oh, well, that's great.
So we're working together. And that's
Okay.
what I think, whatever the charter says, the people of Baltimore need to see that we are working with the mayor is working with us,
Yes.
and there's no schism.
Mm-hmm.
We all work for the people, and that's what we try to keep in mind all the time if we have differences. But it's a healthy thing because we got millions of dollars reallocated in this budget now, millions, and going for what we thought were the important items like education, safe streets, after-school programs, so that we didn't, especially so that we didn't go backwards in the amount of funding for after-school. We didn't,
Yes.
but we were backwards, so we had to come up.
And bring it to the fore.
Yeah, so I'm optimistic.
You're encouraged? Are you encouraged?
I am encouraged. And I mean, I want to say that the ceasefire weekend, now this is me talking,
Okay.
I think that was a turning point.
Yes.
I think that, and because I watched very carefully, and I know that a lot of the people that do the shooting told the people that were leading the ceasefire that they would try to abide. And there for the first 24 hours,
Nobody.
it was quieter than any Saturday we ever saw
Yes, yes.
for a long, long time.
Yes, yes.
And then when the shootings occurred, it was kind of it was a terrible, terrible sadness and disappointment and tragedies. But I felt that we had found that how to do this
Yes.
had been shown to
Had been
us,
shown.
and that was peer to peer
Yes,
in neighborhoods.
exactly. And talking about it, I worked down in Pigtown.
Oh yeah.
And at a church there, Wayman AME Church, and
Oh, yeah.
I was talking to some of the members at my church, and they were saddened because that first
Yeah.
shooting happened there.
Oh.
Yeah, they just were brokenhearted.
Oh,
And I said,
yeah.
well, why do you think it happened here? They said, Patrick, did you see any ceasefire signs around here? They said they always forget about us. She said they forget. They said they forget about us, that we're down here.
But
She said,
it was people. So the answer to that is, we'll do it. We should do it again and
yes,
again,
yes.
and get your own signs and put them up.
Well, next time
Because
I tell
that's what everybody did.
Well, we're to bring light to each community, and we're not just working on the west side. We're working there.
Oh, yeah.
This past summer, we did a vacation Bible school where we taught the kids
Oh, yeah.
violin, piano, cello, anthropology,
Good for you.
life skills. We have a group called Unification Solutions Majority League, and we work at Liberty Elementary School. We're trying to get the
Liberty! Oh,
yeah,
my gosh!
Yeah, that's
that, we
the
all
best.
know Liberty.
Liberty, but the whole our idea is to get them before puberty. Mrs. Clarke.
Yeah.
To get them before
Yeah.
puberty, because nothing's going to change. Because once you know after puberty, God help us, we know we were all once.
We're all who we are for a while.
Yeah, exactly, and it's
At least
difficult.
for a few years,
Yeah,
we're like
exactly.
in transition.
In transition. All right, I know we don't have a bunch of time, but yesterday you did something that the city is rejoicing. Everybody I know
Really?
is rejoicing. Yes, you reintroduced the
Dollar House program.
Yes, and our radio program. We announced it there. I know I contacted close to 300 people and told them to
Wow.
come down yesterday.
Well, a pile came.
Well, Christina Flowers
Oh, yes.
sent me a text, and I just hit my buttons. I sat there, I know, for a good hour, just telling people about it, to get the people down there. And I
Yeah.
understand that when you did it, and you asked all of those in favor, that
stand
the
up.
rafters stood up.
Yep.
And Jack Young was a little surprised, or a little shocked.
Well, I don't know how he felt, but he was, I thought he was pretty pleased.
Yes, okay.
It's quite, and I'll tell you, it's a gentleman whose name is Tyrone, I always
Boast.
want to make Boast.
Yes.
I know his name, but that got me together with a bunch of his colleagues, skilled craftsmen.
Yes.
He's a master plumber.
Yes.
We have a master electrician, all
Yes.
these skills, all from you know, the hood originally, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And now they want to give back, and I met with them 2 different times.
Okay.
At the Terra Cafe there at 25th and St. Paul.
Yes.
And we set up big tables and talked about getting the Dollar House program back. And and I hope that you'll have Mr. Boast on your show.
Yes, we have, and we
to
will
talk
have him
about
again
it. He's
soon.
a powerhouse,
Yes,
I'll tell
he is.
you.
Brilliant.
He's a good plumber, but a great rhetorician.
Yes, he is.
And so they have a group called Homes, Homes, now. And I talked to a very high official at the housing department in the hallway yesterday, and that person indicated interest.
Very good.
Yes. See, here's what we need that we're missing, and it is putting the people in who are in the core and the heart of the trouble,
Yes.
helping them on their own to rebuild.
Yes.
And the Dollar House program puts these skilled, smaller companies, minority companies, women companies, it's construction, together with people in the neighborhood, where they can, with a low interest loan, the contractors can fix a house, a blighted house, instead of tearing it down.
Yes. Yes.
And they can do it to the basics. So you have your walls, you have your, your roof, your furnace, your kitchen.
Bathroom.
Yeah, you get a use and occupancy permit. Now, you might want some finishing touches that you
Sure.
put on, but the cost of that house, a solid house that has passed all inspections that you've helped design,
Yes. Yes. Equity.
I mean, that's power.
yes, it is.
That's
power.
self-reliance, empowerment,
Yes,
because
ma'am.
people, middle-aged men come talk to me all the time and say, "Hey, Mary, whatever happened to the Dollar House program?" Because I know people are interested because, hey, I'm not rich, but I'm strong and I'm skilled,
Yes.
and I have friends who will help me,
Yes.
and I can build a house
Yes.
with the right kind of skilled help to do it,
And the financial help to do it.
and the financial
That's the
help.
big component
Yes.
of it. I am really excited about it.
Oh, good, that helps us.
Well, I think it helps everybody because gentrification doesn't bother me, but it bothers me to the extent where people want to come in and kick us out. Or they build property that we
Of
can no
course.
longer afford to
Of
do.
course.
But
Well,
if they
and
want to
that's-
come live in the community, I have no problem with that. But don't come in trying to kick us out, and you go over
Right.
in Park Heights. And some of those buildings are just gorgeous
Oh, I know.
buildings. I mean, Park Heights Avenue, the streets, some of those down there by those old synagogues, some of those, the
Oh, my gosh, I
facades
know.
of them, they're just stunningly beautiful. And it's an opportunity for Baltimore. Now I'm going to tell you, now I'm a little funny. I believe that Baltimore should be the Mecca of the East Coast for majority blacks communities.
Why not?
I really do.
We
And
have the history,
We
we
not
have-
only do we have the history.
We have the civil rights history.
Oh, we have everything.
Right there on Druid Hill Avenue.
Exactly, the most charming city, some of the most beautiful architecture, some of the most beautiful landscaping. Baltimore has some of the most brilliant people.
Absolutely.
And it's just the people don't realize the power of Baltimore. So our whole thing is to empower Baltimore so that people come from all over the United States and see these black people who are in the majority living abundant lives.
Amen.
And their children. That is my prayer. Now, I know we don't have a bunch of time, but I wanted to talk to you about a couple of things.
Sure.
One is you introduced the new housing.
Yeah, the Dollar House.
The dollar housing thing. I have a concern because I love beautiful cars. I have a nice car. And I was interviewed, someone that's running for governor a couple of weeks ago.
Really?
And he was up just bashing the state about how the state ignores Baltimore. And in fact, a few weeks ago, I was interviewing Commissioner Davis. And he says whenever he brings up Baltimore in the legislature, he says, oh, that's you all's problem, not our problem. So this gentleman who's running for governor was talking about the fact that how bad Baltimore streets are. Hey, yeah, they're pretty bad. They are. I don't care in what neighborhood, except till you get
okay.
over here on this side of town where you live. And he said that when you leave the city and when you get to any Route 1, you will notice that the highways are just stunningly perfect. And I asked him why was that, and he said that the state does not repair roads here in the city.
That's right. We do our own.
We do our own. All right, we do our own.
But we do it with the amount of money that we are able to get from the state.
From the state.
For that purpose.
For that purpose.
So we have a formula where we get a little extra from other subdivisions because we do our own work. But if there's anything, well, no, that's not true. I have complaints about a lot of things. But roads and the condition after the couple of winters that we've had and the storms we've had, there's no question about it. We have a lot to make up for.
Yes, we have a lot to make up for. And my question, reason I'm positing this, is that I mentioned to the mayor, I keep bringing it up, why don't we have a commuter tax?
Oh, I know why.
Why?
That's just because I've been around forever.
I know Schaefer had one though.
Well, no. It was Mayor Kurt Schmoke, who, when he was mayor, because I was president of the council,
Okay.
he was the one that fought very, very hard to get a commuter tax. And what they, and the reason that we lost, at least I was told this, in the General Assembly, was Montgomery was afraid that D.C. would put one in. See, the General Assembly is all these different counties. They didn't want to set a precedent of a commuter tax. So what they did is they established another system that we rely on now. It's called the disparity grant.
What is that?
So he did get us, as mayor, this grant.
Schmoke did.
And he got everybody this grant in the state because what it is you look at the income level of each subdivision in the state, and then you get a median of what that amount is. And then everybody that's below that amount gets money to bring them closer up to the median
Every city.
from the state. So Montgomery, well, I don't know if they get, if you're below the median for the state, it gets done every year. Then you get a certain disparity grant to your city. It's like general funds. You can use it for anything. To make up the difference for your poverty as a jurisdiction.
That's interesting.
Yes. Now, so in other words, that wasn't a commuter tax, so Montgomery County and other people in Prince George didn't have to worry that they were going to get stuck with a commuter tax. But it was something that actually brought money to not just Baltimore, and it still does. It still does.
Then why aren't our roads repaired? Why are our roads so bad?
Well, of course, I took us off track a little bit because we talked about the commuter tax.
Yes, I'm trying to get to why.
You can use this on roads if you wish. You
If
can
you
use it
wish.
for anything.
That's the problem.
Well, it's what do you fund first? And basically we rely on state transportation taxes. That's what comes into our subdivision that we use basically to do roads. And with the recession in 2008, we started to lose ground with how much we received. And although it's better now, we've never picked up to be back where we were.
Wow.
So I'm not making excuses, I'm just telling you what happened.
Okay.
We lost specifically the money that we use in our transportation department to repave roads.
Well, what it does is, in D.C., I won't go to D.C. anymore. I won't
Oh my
drive
gosh.
in D.C. There are speed cameras everywhere.
Oh, okay.
And they start at $150.
Oh my gosh.
So you're taxing the local people because of all these people coming in. And same thing here in Baltimore. This is a whole other show, and I'm not going to talk about it. But I can tell you there are fewer cameras, speed cameras in Roland Park than there are in Ashburton. And I'm going to keep moving with you.
Okay.
The other thing that we wanted to talk about was the marijuana dispensaries.
Oh, yeah.
And where is that? And how we know that it was stopped because there was a disparity in the people that were going to.
Well, actually, it was I asked for a hearing to figure out what's going on and what the, how does the public get to be heard about the location of marijuana dispensaries, medical
Right.
marijuana. But basically, in the case of the one that's planned for Hamden, or there are two now, the one in my district. In fact, I'm going to a meeting this evening with community representatives and with the proprietor of that medical marijuana dispensary to begin coming to a memorandum of understanding about hours, security, and the like between the dispensary and the community.
So it is in action. There is something
so
being
it
done
is,
about it.
yeah. So that's because right now there is no public process. It's a permitted use in every commercial district in Baltimore City.
Wow.
So that means no zoning board, no city council, nothing. And it caught us by surprise. And so what we came up with was we asked for the permit to be held. And the owners agree with that. And then so that we could come to an agreement that we could have them stick to.
Are you looking at Denver? Are you looking at the billions of dollars that are coming in?
Well, I mean, this is just medical.
I know, that's what
marijuana
my next question
dispensary,
was.
yeah.
When is it going to be made open to the general public? When do you think, how far close are we to
Oh,
that?
you mean these dispensaries?
No, not just the dispensaries where people can actually go and buy to the general public, like it is in Denver.
Oh, wow. What I've been through with just medical marijuana dispensaries, just one. I hope we do a better job here of making sure that if that ever happens at the state level, that we have some protections for neighborhoods, frankly.
Neighborhoods?
Yeah, because they're afraid that, I mean, some of the fear is that just like methadone clinics, there are some people, and it doesn't have to be many, who walk out of these places and go and deal the drug.
But they're already doing that, Pat, Ms. Clarke. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, but it adds to that problem.
You think it adds to the crime problem? Is that what you're saying?
It certainly does with methadone clinics.
But
And
I think
that's
marijuana is different.
it remains to be seen, but we just want to be sure that our neighborhoods, that we get the security that we need
I understand.
to protect
yes,
the
ma'am.
neighborhoods.
Yes, ma'am. And I think that's very important. But I think that we're strapped for cash. And Denver they're giving money to the citizens of the state. They're getting checks. Education's paid for. Police are paid for.
Yeah, well.
Building housing for the homeless. So it's not just the criminals that are buying marijuana. And so we need to look from that perspective, I believe, because we need to get off the poor people's backs.
No.
In this
Nobody's
city.
a criminal that's buying for medical marijuana.
Yeah, for those that smoke it in general either.
Basically, this is not. We don't have time for this debate.
All right.
Right now, I've got one facility in one location and people having concerns. And our way to try to address them is, absent a hearing process, is for us to come to an agreement with the operators. However, there is going to be a city council hearing overall on what process should be in place in Baltimore for these dispensaries, and
Okay.
how has this happened, and what do we do? And that will be coming up at the very, very end of August.
Are there best practices for other cities that you all will employ, that you will look
Yeah,
at?
I think that will be, we'll bring these to light. Other people will bring them to light at
Okay.
the hearing. It's
Okay.
not an anti-bash, it's a discussion.
Okay.
What is it? What's the history? And what about Baltimore? How can we have at least some input
Yes,
in
ma'am.
neighborhoods about having one?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
One more question, I'm going to leave you alone.
Okay.
So appreciate this.
Sure.
Our babies, our children. You're on the education
I am.
program. And you've got after-school programs, which
Yep.
we know are absolutely.
They are.
You've got food programs that we're doing, and
Yes.
which is people have no idea my children, my babies. I had 20 of them
Wow.
in my after-school program last
All
year
right.
at Liberty. And I would buy food
Yeah.
from my pocket
I
to
know.
feed them after my program because there was no food to do it. But then I noticed that they would say, Mr. Henderson, can I have extra? And I say, well,
For
are
their
you home?
little brothers and sisters.
Their mommies
Their moms.
and their families. So I started buying more back. I'm sorry, I don't mean to refer to
Oh,
you
no,
as a-
no.
For that. I'm just wondering what we can do to reach those kids. All the kids that weren't in my program, but I started taking my kids to play, and there were kids just hanging out on the playground, and they were looking for something to get into. So I started inviting them up to my music class.
No, music.
Yes, music, exactly. And
Music.
they came in with their ruffian sort of little things, but
Yeah,
before I
yeah,
knew it, they were
yeah.
singing with the other
Sure.
kids, giving them instruments to play, and they were having a good time.
Music, music.
How can we do that in such a way that no matter what kid comes into the scene, that we're able to say to the kid, hey, come here, what's your name? You know, what do you like to do? Come on, we got a program for you. Is there funding needed? Is there more funding needed?
Oh,
Are there
there's-
grants
There's-
needed?
Yes, because even though we were able to restore the money that we lost to after-school programs, that's reaching thousands of children.
Yes.
But there are thousands it doesn't reach. So no, we have to keep building and building and building on what we have accomplished so far to reach every child. Until that's done, we're not anywhere until you have everyone.
Well, you know, it's funny because I agree with you. When you had all those people down there yesterday, you know what I tell people every week about our children? I said, you know what? You can open up a little library on your front porch. You can start a little
that's
book
true.
club on your front porch and read to them. Make some lemonade. Go get some country time and make up a big barrel of it. They'll sit there all day and learn, see how they read. Read to them. I
Yeah.
think the community has got to
They
step
do that
up.
in Remington, in a neighborhood I represent.
Uh-huh.
They have the people who live there have events where everybody comes out on the front porches for entertainment and to read to the kids.
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
they do
yes.
it,
Those sorts of
and
things.
it's wonderful.
It is wonderful because it builds a sense of community,
Yeah.
and then you get to know the children.
You get to know their names instead of just the kids out there.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Well, I know we've got to go. I would like to thank you again.
Thank you.
For this time. And you're going to come into the studio, or you're going to call
I
into the
am.
studio, and you're going to
I'll
take questions.
do it. Sure, I'll be glad to.
We would love to have you.
Sure.
Patrick Henderson, Meet the People. Thank you.
Thank you
Mayor
for
Pat
Mr.
Clarke,
Henderson.
City Councilman. We bless you and thank you
Thank
for
you.
this time.
Thank you.